Hello everyone, I'm filming this on the morning of Friday the 8th of January 2016, which is 2 days after I hit 31 months off using all topical steroids. I've done these videos before, so if you want to know for the previous 2 months how my skin's been, it might be best to watch those first. But yeah, I'll just be talking about this month, so up until this point and from December the 6th, 2015 onwards. If last month was busy, this month quadrupled in intensity and madness, and it was a crazy month basically. Work was mad. I was working 2 jobs for most of December, and then towards the end part of the month I was working really long hours for 1 job in Switzerland. It's hard to, I've put down a lot of notes for what happened this month, but it's hard to put them into a good order, so do bear with me. I just want to get all the information out I can about what's been happening with my skin, because quite a lot has happened with my skin. I'll start at the beginning of December the 6th. For a week and a bit it was totally great, no complaints, the best skin I've ever had. There was no issues at all whatsoever really. From about the 12th I started working 2 jobs and really long hours every day, and I wasn't putting in the time for meditation as much, and I was again grabbing quicker food, healthy food, but not you know, like proper meals. I was just grabbing snacks and sort of making things, you know, as meals that weren't probably the best. No refined sugar, but you know, not like hearty meals, which I think is vital. And yes, on the 20th 21st time of December I started noticing that my legs were coming up. Let me see. Yes, my legs were lumpy and a little bit rashy, not itchy at all, just little, but these rashes and lumps, they didn't look too bad, but just because it's a video about skin I feel I should mention everything. But yeah, just these random lumps were coming up and the odd rash on my legs, and also on my hands. Was it both hands? Yeah, small rashes coming up on my hands. On the 23rd I went home to my mum. My mum looked after me as she does, and my skin calmed right down over the Christmas period. I've written a blog about what I ate over the Christmas period. I didn't have any refined sugar. I had some treats that were nicer, but I ate real food, you know, lots of vegetables, you know, meat, everything my body needed, and my skin calmed right down again. On the 27th I went to Switzerland. For the first couple of days it was fine, I think, but so I went on Sunday the 27th of December, and by the Tuesday I was starting to notice my skin was quite irritated, and let me just see. Yes, Tuesday, so my hands started coming up. Tuesday night I started noticing rashes coming up on my face, and at this point, because my face hadn't had any rashes whatsoever for a while, I started getting really nervous. I mean, where I was in Switzerland, Verbier, we were really high up, different altitude, different climate. I was eating different food, so many differences. Yeah, my skin was reacting to it. On Tuesday nights, I think Tuesday, what would it be? So Sunday 27th, so the 29th, I was really getting quite nervous that I was going to flare. And then on Monday, the following morning on Wednesday, I woke up and my face was puffy and it was quite dark. I was really scared I was going to flare again. And it's funny how quickly your mind can transport you back to the fear and the panic and not knowing what's going on in an instant. I had a couple of hours where I was planning all these ways. How do I get out of Switzerland? I need to leave, you know, I need to go home and try and get better, because I just had no idea what was going to happen. But then I really thought about it, and I thought about everything about coming to Switzerland, and so many differences in climate. Like I said, the altitude, the temperature. It wasn't cold, but it's just different air. I wasn't used to traveling. I hadn't traveled in quite like 3 years, even before TSW, and you know, I've put it down to a few things. I was using a sun cream, because in Switzerland, you know, you really need the sun cream. And also I was eating a bread and a muesli that I feel, instead of TSW, it was more an allergic reaction to something I was doing. And so I cut out the sun cream I was using. It was called Bell Sun. Bear with me one sec and I will go and... Hello, this is the sun cream I was using while I was in Switzerland. And you know, for the first day when I was using it, actually felt lovely on my skin. I thought, oh, this is great. But if you've been watching my videos before, you know I don't use moisturizers, and when I have used them in the past, my skin gets quite irritated by them. And yes, I cut out straight away on the Wednesday morning the sun cream. I stopped eating the bread I was eating. I ate quite a lot of bread the previous day, and also I was so the bread and a muesli I was eating, and pretty much, oh, and I had an antihistamine, and pretty much over the day skin calmed right back down again. And the relief I felt, I can't actually put into words. Yeah, just extraordinary. So yeah, that happened on Wednesday. Just over the day, it slowly calmed down, and I put up a picture on Instagram. There are 4 little pictures, which I'll put on my blog. I've got a lot of photos from this month that I will be putting on my blog, so I'll link it down below, where you can check out all the videos. Sorry, I look a little bit frazzled. This is work hair. I've been working this morning, so I don't even know what that'll look like when it's bigger. So yeah, it just calmed straight down. I did, so I tried to eat consciously a lot of vegetables and try and have cooked meals while I was away, you know, really healthy meals. But I did, over the odd day, have a bit of sugar, which I hadn't had. I'd had a pizza with my mum earlier in the month that was from Pizza Express that had sugar, and there was no reaction there. So I did have some sugar, and I'm wondering, and then... Sorry, so I had the sugar, and yes, over the course of that week I did have some sugar, and it was fine. Let me just double check. On New Year's Eve, because I felt so that was let me just double check when New Year's Eve was. So that was Thursday. So on Wednesday morning I'd had the big reaction, and then all day it calmed down. The following day I actually looked at my hands properly, and I didn't realise they were as bad as they were. They'd come up quite bad. My right hand especially had come up pretty badly. I will put pictures on my blog of what my hand was like, especially my right hand. My left hand not so much. My wrists were not affected. It was literally on my right hand around let me see, around this area, around my knuckles and fingers, but yeah, no reaction on my wrists and around here. And I was a bit nervous. Then over the next few days they got quite bad. Bad enough that I couldn't really do much with my right hand, which was inconvenient because I was on a, you know, working thing in Switzerland, and I had to use my hands a lot. But you know, it was still doable, and I still got on with it. I sort of sucked it up a bit and just, you know, thought, you know, I've got to just do it, and I did, and it was fine. I mean, but I got back on Sunday and my skin again started to calm straight back down. I also ate from this Monday really well, and the marked improvement in the quality of my skin is amazing. It was calming down as it was without changing, you know, the food, because I'd been eating differently in Switzerland. I'd been eating sugar and just different food, but yeah, when I came home I had my old healthy diet, and over the next few days the change in my skin is amazing. So yeah, even though my hand came up quite badly this month, extremely positive. I mean, I went to a completely different country with different situation, and all that affected me really was my legs. I said that, oh no, the legs, yeah, I forgot to mention about my legs. My legs, when I got back, I realised were quite red and rashy. They haven't been itchy at all. They've just been a little bit rashy, but over the last few days they've sort of dried up and they're slowly going again. So I don't know. I feel with my legs, I got quite ill mid-December from just working like so hard. And I think it might have been that. I think it was because I was feeling quite run down, so that happened. I thought I'd throw that in there. But yes, back to the positivity. I went to another country entirely with a different way of life, different altitude, everything, and the only place that was really badly affected was my hand and a few patches on my face, which I think was an allergic reaction to something I'd done opposed to TSW. My wrists this time last year were awful, and they had no reaction really whatsoever apart from a tiny teeny patch there. Also, I think it's just doing so well. I use steroid creams for 10 plus years. I have to remember that, and I just feel very lucky that the reaction I had this month is so much milder. It's getting milder and milder all the time, and by this time next year I'm very excited to see what the case will be with my skin. I mean, now it feels like I'm responsible for my skin. And I think I read this on a blog, someone else who was well over 2 years down the line, they said they felt they were responsible for what happened to their skin. And I definitely, for me, stress, you know, running yourself down, you know, overworking and eating are my triggers. I know that for sure. I think I've got to the point where I know I can have treats occasionally, but just stick to a generally healthy diet. And to be honest, for me, I love eating healthily. It's not a hardship, it's sort of a lifestyle choice that I want to do myself. So yeah, I think the future for me is to try and find balance. You know, New Year's Eve, I actually put up an Instagram saying, you know, I'm just going to take a few days away from my Instagram and, you know, all my TSW stuff, because it was just too intense. It was just too much was going on. I'd had a really long day. It was just too much. The new year, I really want to find balance, and I want to put sort of looking after myself a priority, because that's the one thing I think everyone does. You know, that's the first thing to go when, you know, life gets crazy. But I need to remember for 2016, I've got to come first, you know, in terms of my health and looking after myself. I'm just going to check the list to see. I feel I have missed quite a few bits, but in a very, very weird, mixed up way. I think I got most things that I wanted to. Right, the other benefits. My skin is no longer itchy. Like we all experience through TSW, we get that intense bone deep itching. I haven't had that for a very long time. I don't really get itchy at all now. It's only little rashes that come up. Even when my hand was bad, there was not that deep, intense itching where you've really got to gouge at your hands to, you know, take away the irritation. Nothing whatsoever at all. Honestly, what an amazing way to start the year. This time last year I was housebound. My hands were so bad, I can't tell you how bad my hands were. Well, you've seen the pictures. Yeah, they were really bad. So I mean, you know, I had a few days where my right hand, I couldn't move much, but really last year it took months for it to get to a point where I could move my hand again, so I couldn't be more happy. I'll probably do another update video next month, but at this point I'm going to touch wood. I feel like I'll be saying the same things over and over. I'll maybe have a rash that comes up and then it'll go down again, but I'll probably, after next month's update video, just make you know, biannual maybe updates. I'll definitely be sticking with my Instagram, so if you want to know sort of daily, weekly what's happening with my skin, it's best to follow me on Instagram, because I'll definitely be posting for a long while still on there, and on my blog too. I love blogging, so I'll be sticking with that. And lastly, I just wanted to say I've got some, in the last few months, some really lovely comments, really lovely, on my Instagram, my YouTube, my blog, everything. It really means a lot, and I'll keep blogging and doing all of it if you want me to. And just thank you, it really means a lot what people have said, so yes, thank you. I have rambled on for too long, 10 minutes it says. I think it may be longer, so yeah. To anyone watching this who is suffering at the minute, I'm with you virtually. You know, I'm there if you ever need any support. Just email me, get in contact. There's, you know, so many different ways you can contact me online. And yes, best wishes for this year. I hope this is the year where you see a real amazing change with your skin, and I'll speak to you next month with my new update video. Bye.